In today's video, I show you how I was able to find a checkmate, my thinking process, and potentially help you to find checkmates in puzzles or any games in the future if you know there's a possible checkmate or tactic. So in this position, it is black to move, and from what I've noticed is that okay, we're down material. It's not just we're down a lot of material actually if you think about it. Down a piece, two pieces, but we have some pawns for it which are not doing anything. But the most important thing I noticed was that white had a weak king. This king on e1 is very weak. It looks safe behind the knight, which is protected by the rook, and white is able to castle. However, they did not castle. They played rook d2, not the rook d2 to b2, a blunder. Hence the double not exclamation mark, but the double question mark. So I thought, okay, I want to checkmate white. How can I checkmate? Well, if the rook wasn't on b2, then queen takes e2 would be checkmate. Well, I see I have a knight. Knight's a nice move in L shape. Maybe knight c2, king f1, and then rook d1, rook d1, knight e1, and then rook takes e1 is checkmate. For example, knight c2, ignore that the rook can capture, just ignore it. The king moves to f1, rook d1, knight e1, and rook takes e1 is checkmate. However, in reality, the rook will capture the knight. So I thought, okay, how can I distract the rook since the rook is the only defender of the e2 knight, which is stopping me from delivering queen takes e2 checkmate. Okay, so I'm like, okay. If I can get the rook, like to prevent the rook from having control of this c2 square, then I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat. So I'm thinking, okay, why don't I sacrifice the queen? I must put an exclamation mark, double exclamation mark. This is a brilliant move. Why don't I sacrifice the queen? Because now the king can't take, that's just illegal. The rook is forced to take, it's forced. And as you see with the arrows here that I forgot to take off, that knight c2 works now because the rook can't capture. The game's not even allowing me to capture because it's simply illegal because of the our rook on e8 is pinning the white rook to the king. So now the king is forced to f1. That same sequence I was telling you about with regards to the knight landing on c2 with rook d1, knight e1, rook takes e1. Now, since the king is in such an uncomfortable position, we can now play rook e1 check. Now, white has two options. They can either bring the knight back and block, or they can move the rook back and block. Regardless, it is checkmate now. If knight here, they just rook e1, and rook takes e1 is checkmate. The same goes with the immediate rook e1, because it's simply rook takes, any rook wins, any rook. It looks better taking with this rook, having the double rooks here, and after knight takes, rook takes e1 is checkmate. Therefore, going through that entire thought process, specifically for this puzzle, it might work with other puzzles, but this is just the way I decoded this puzzle, trying to figure out how I can use all my pieces, and how they were able to work together and deliver the final checkmate. Thank you for watching.